Welcome back. Joining us now is Julie Genovese. Welcome to the Strategy Room. You know what? The first couple of chapters of your book are written from a child's perspective. And you have a disorder growing up that you've had since childhood that you talk about how you're going to deal with it. And the book opens with you, then 9, and your brother 11, having to go to the doctor for the umpteenth time, and you are not going to go. Take us there.
Yeah, that morning, and I remember it well, I decided I'm not going there one more time. We went every 6 months or so to the Center for Birth Defects in Boston, and it was just the scariest thing to be, well, not only to hear these big words, these negative words, deformed and abnormal, arthritis, dwarfism. They were words I didn't hear at home either. So it was just confusing, terrifying, and I decided I would hide and not go. And eventually I realized, well, this isn't going to work. I'm only 9. They're going to take me another time anyway. And I went in the house, and Mom knew I was missing, but I don't think she wanted to go there right then. So off we went, and that was, I must have known deep down, because that was a convention where a lot of doctors flew in from all over to see rare cases, and they stood me on a table and pointed out where things weren't working right.
They took pictures of you and had you take off your clothes in front of all of these men. You're only 9.
Yeah.
And what do you have that the doctors would be so interested in a 9-year-old?
That's what I was wondering. I felt the same as everyone else. I knew I was different, but in my everyday world, I sort of was in denial, I guess.
Credit to your parents, too. And isn't that what the doctors told your parents? They said, your kids, you and your brother, are very well developed emotionally and psychologically.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it a try. Spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia.
You got the third part right.
Yeah. It's a way of saying dwarfism. It's a very
it's a
long
type of dwarfism.
Yeah, it's a very, very long.
Spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia.
Okay.
Yeah. Big,
I said
big
it much slower than you did.
But you added a few
yeah, but you've been saying it longer. What does it mean? What does it mean?
It's still hard for me to say.
What does it mean for your life?
Little person.
This big word.
Back then, what did it mean, or now?
Yeah, medically, what does it mean?
Oh, medically, spondylo means spine. Epiphyseal is the growing part of the bone. And dysplasia means there's abnormal growth there, or something wrong in that area.
And so from birth,
yes,
they knew that. I mean,
genetic.
were you a tiny baby? How did they?
Yes, my brother was born first, a year and a half before me, and they did not know what the condition was. It took them several days to label him, and so when I was born, they did know, and immediately they said, "Oh, yeah, we recognize this." They had told my parents it would not happen again, but they didn't understand then about what the odds were, and that it was a recessive condition, and because there are different types of dwarfism, but mine was inherited recessive. So,
and it isn't just that you're small stature at that very young age. You had a lot of other complications.
it was mostly my joints. There are types of dwarfism that involve more serious medical issues. Mine were that arthritis came pretty early in my life, and but otherwise, health-wise, I was doing really well.
Well, let's flash forward. So in the book, at school, every place you went, you knew the stare.
Yeah.
Tell me about the stare.
Do you know the stare?
I think I do.
Yeah, I think most people do. It's an incredibly universal issue, insecurity, that for me was, of course, heightened. But that turned into an advantage later in my life. I never knew it would. But to know that I'm not my body now is
You're not your body. What do you mean?
I'm not my body. Well, it's easy to get lost and to think this is us and this is all we are, or our clothes or what we own. But because I couldn't fit in, and because I was given such odd feedback and ridicule and laughter, that caused me to really go inside and want to find the answers there. Because the way the outside world seemed to feel about me was not the way I felt about me, and it wasn't the way my family felt about me. So that confusion was really painful for many years, but it ended up really bringing me to the other side where I could find joy no matter what the circumstances.
You know, Julie, what you describe is what every teenager goes through. That's there. We all know it. I mean, you don't have to have a disease or a disorder or be traumatically different from anybody else. But when you're going through those formative teenage years, everybody feels like they don't fit in.
Yes.
And you do. You see a lot of people acting badly because they don't know how to process that. You see cliques and bullies and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with that. That's the kind of microcosm. You're dealing with this in every facet. You can't even go to the grocery store without people staring. And so how did you turn that around and find joy?
Well, I just got so tired of hiding. I really did. And that was what caused me to be looking for people who had gone through something like this, or who had really been put through the ringer and came out on the other side and said, oh, this is not about what we think are hardships are really the things that are just challenging us to be fully who we are, not just be who other people want us to be or what other people predict for us, as there's no shortage of that, but to be able to find mentors that had already been there, had gone through their own hardship and discovered that circumstances were not determining their happiness. It was them. It was how they reacted to circumstances that determined it.